Hello, it is Steph. Welcome back to my channel. In today's video, I'm going to be sharing some tips for new Connections Academy students. Just so you know, at the time of posting this video, I will be on a boat on my way down to the Bahamas. So if you comment like a question or something and I don't respond within a few days, it's because I'm on a boat with no Wi-Fi. Because when I go on vacation and I don't have Wi-Fi, I'm not gonna pay for Wi-Fi. I like to enjoy being internet free. I will be vlogging while I'm gone though. So there'll be some more exciting new content coming from that. And I don't know if you can hear that fan running downstairs. The walls of my house are like paper thin and I can hear everything. Oh, and this is like what my room looks like now. I never really showed my room before. I'm not finished yet. But now that I've redone it, I think I'm going to start filming it here. Anyhow, I am going to stop talking and I'm going to get on with the video, of course. So my first tip is for students who are like registered and have access to the system, but haven't actually started their like school yet. So what I think you need to do is you need to go and just click on and explore what is on the system. Figuring out how to go through Connexus is a whole like journey on its own, and you can waste a lot of time clicking on the wrong things or not knowing where stuff is. So literally just go on there and click on every single feature available, every little tab, just see what it all is, and maybe grab a notebook, write down what is in what section for when you need to find something. This is going to be super important, I'm telling you, so please do it. People have said that they have spent like over 10 hours a day on school and that they're lost and that they need help with it, so just please take my advice. My second tip is that you need to look at your schedule ahead of time. I think some new students don't realize is that not all the lessons are meant to be completed in one day. So when you first click on a lesson, if you scroll to the bottom, it might say, this lesson takes 2 days to complete, this lesson takes 3 days to complete. And if you go and you click on planner and you see all your little blocked out lessons, it will have like parentheses and a 2, like if the lesson goes over 2 days. So it is super important to make sure that you're not doing a workload that is multiple days in one day. Of course, there are some lessons that say that they're 2 days, but they don't even take that long. Like for me, a 2-day English lesson, if it's not a portfolio, if it's just like a regular lesson, I finish it in 1 day. But if you notice a lesson is multiple days and you're having trouble completing it, that's when you know it's time to stop. And speaking of being time to stop, my next thing to say to you is that you need to take a break. You cannot sit there and stare at a computer screen for 8 hours, which by the way, school should not take you 8 hours. You need to go outside, or it's always cold where I live, so I can't always go outside, so never mind, you don't have to do that. But you have to find something to do, particularly not on a screen. I really try to watch my screen time and how much I am on my phone, because after I do school, my first instinct is, oh, I'm gonna go on my phone, I'm gonna text my friends or something. I mean, that's not really the best thing to do, considering I just stared at a screen to do school. Take breaks. Make sure they are screen-free. I think another thing that new students also need to know is that live lessons are not required. Okay, so my dad, he doesn't stay home. He goes to work, and sometimes he was like, why didn't you go to a live lesson? Why are you skipping class? And I had to explain to him that not going to a live lesson isn't like skipping class at all. You're not gonna have a live lesson on every day of the week. Some of your courses may not even have live lessons at all. You might get like an email for English that says, hey, in today's live lesson, we're going to be going over something about maybe a book you are reading in that unit. Then you may want to go, especially if there's a portfolio, because teachers are very helpful with that. They'll show you how to do stuff. But if a teacher says like, oh, it's an open help live lesson, just come with your questions, or if it's about something that you're not struggling in, there's really no need to go. I don't go to English live lessons. A lot of teachers record the live lessons, so even if you want to go to these live lessons and you don't have time, you typically can go on their message board and go back and view them. Sometimes that is what I do with English if I do need extra help, but on a daily basis, I'm not going to take time out of my school day to go to an English live lesson. You just got to figure out what you really need to be doing. And I get it. It's tough sometimes. Online school is hard. Another thing that new students need to know is that it's okay to have an overdue lesson or two. Sometimes you just need to stop rather than stress yourself out. There's no need to push yourself to do something and then it ends up turning out bad because you're just making yourself do it. because you want to get it done right away. I mean, we have scheduled days at Connexus, but it's not like there was a day that says, like, it has to be sent in this day. Usually teachers will give you like 2 weeks after the date, maybe before they give you a full 0. But if you need to take a few extra days on something, go ahead and do it. It's not worth the aggravation. I'm not saying to procrastinate and be lazy and let yourself get like 20 overdue lessons, but sometimes you have to let a few things slide or you're unsuccessful.
When I said don't procrastinate, I wasn't trying to attack anyone for having overdue lessons. I was more directing myself. Oops.
Another thing that I want new students to know is don't be afraid to go and do something else on Connexus. You're probably thinking, what does that mean? I mean, join one of the clubs. Oh, there's a photography contest? Submit a picture for it. Do something. One of my biggest regrets is that I don't interact with anything else besides my lessons, and I think it makes my school day a little bit boring. This year, I am in Author's Corner Club, and that's about it. But next year, I mean, it's gonna be my senior year next year, so I hope that next year I can really enjoy some of the other activities offered, because that's part of the experience, and you shouldn't be missing out. I mean, there are times where I do not go to my Author's Corner live lesson because I am working on school or I am doing something else. So yeah, sometimes, of course, your school has to take priority, but you still have to have something fun too. Allow yourself to step out of your comfort zone and try something else. Extracurricular activities are important, okay? And there are so many different options when it comes to electives. You can probably choose something that might be more fun for you too. It doesn't all have to be boring and learning. Learning can be fun though. Another thing that I want new students to know is that you're not going to get 100 on everything. Sometimes the assessments throw on questions that don't make sense, and that's okay. That's what life is. You just get random stuff thrown at you and you just got to deal with it. Nobody's perfect and your grades aren't going to be perfect. And with that being said, another thing I want you to know is that you need to be aware of the corrections policy. I don't know if it varies from school to school, but my corrections policy is that I have to complete the corrections within 2 weeks of the thing being graded, and it's only for portfolios and essay questions on tests. So make sure you view that because you could have a second chance. And speaking of getting good grades and corrections, on your teacher's message board, sometimes your teachers will have study guides, which you can either print these off or just keep them in a different tab, and you can take notes as you go along with the lesson. And these are important information that you may need to know on tests. So sometimes there are weird questions, but the teachers will kind of help you out. I mean, in high school, you don't really get as many study guides as in middle school. In middle school, I feel like every teacher had like a study guide for a course. So I was always taking those history notes back in 6th grade. I'm just assuming most people who watch this are in high school. So sometimes I gotta expand what I'm saying a little bit more because some of you may be in middle school. So yeah, I don't think there was anything else for me to say there. So that is the end of the video. If you want, you can subscribe because I post every Monday and Friday at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And if you have any questions about anything, comment down below. I know Connections Academy is confusing at first. And like I said, it may take me a few days to respond if you are watching this video as soon after it is uploaded. But yeah, that is all I had to say. Have an awesome, wonderful, yummy day, and I will see you all next time. Bye!